Hi, and in this week's episode, we're going to take a look at this plus4 with a black screen. Okay, so we've got this plus4 with a black screen. Phil sent it in from Facebook, and as you can see, when we switch it on, all we get is a black screen. So, sorry this might be a bit wavy around, guys. I have lost my mount for my camera, so we're going to have to try and do this in however I can, to be fair. Right, okay, so let's just unplug that, and I'll flip it over. So this is really easy to get into. You've got one screw there. You've got one screw there, and another one just there, another one in the middle there, and one of them there. That's 5 screws. And then we just flip it back over again. So now we've got it flipped back over again. What we've got to do is lift the back up like that, and if you see down at the front there, there's some little tags that go underneath. That's why we have to pull it backwards a little bit, and then we can flip it right over. So there's the ribbon cable I was talking about. It's not brilliant. I don't like touching it. So what I did is I went through and I changed the PLA, didn't make a difference. I changed the kernel ROM, didn't make a difference. I put diag in it, it didn't make a difference. So if you know, like on the Commodore 64, you need to have a PLA, video chip and a CPU to get anything from the screen. So I then went and swapped it with the 8501 chip. This is the original chip that was in here, hence the X mark on there. Yeah, we could go down the lines of oscilloscope and looking at the address lines to find out where it was, but I've got spare chips, so it's just as easy just to pop a chip in it. That's all well and good, that's as long as my chip's working properly. So yeah, what I did is I swapped that out and boom, it went straight into the dashboard. So we could go down the lines of fitting in an adapter board and putting a 6510 in there, but you're still running about £25–30 for a 6510, then the adapter board and the sockets and soldering up. So you're still going to be looking at £40–50 or something like that. These 8501 chips, if you look on eBay, they're on there for around between £50 and £60. But it is Russian roulette, and we don't know whether it's going to actually go again. You know what I mean? So I'm looking around eBay and I come across this 6501 equivalent, which apparently is 100% compatible. So what I mean by that is, if we went down the lines and did the 6510, you would lose the tape auto stop functionality. You know, when it loads up and it says found manic miner. Yeah, well, it tape stops, doesn't it? And then you press space bar and it continues. Well, it doesn't. It just continuously goes. So you have to remember to stop the tape manually yourself. And on a multi-load game, that can be an absolute pain in the backside. So I had a chat with Phil. I gave him the options of what we could do, and we decided to go with this equivalent. So I will put a link in the description for you, so you can be able to purchase this off one of the gentlemen off eBay. He was a really nice chap, and he sent me a load of other little PCB boards that I can build up in future videos as well. So thank you for that, pal. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, so let's get this other chip out and let's see if it actually works. But first, let's see if this, show you what it's doing. Let's see what it's doing. So there we go, there's the chip. Up we go. Boom. And we get nothing because there's no power supply or anything in there, you wally. So we now have power supply and we now have aerial. So we should actually be able to turn that on and you should be able to see the black screen. There you go, that's all we get. So let's get that chip swapped out and let's see if that new one works for us. I've only got one hand, but that's how we pull chips. Right, let's get that other one installed. So what I noticed is I had to flatten some of these capacitors down and push them out of the way, and flatten that capacitor down there, so this will be able to fit in properly. But it is low profiled because it has to do to clear the keyboard. The C16 one is a little bit higher profiled, and I think the CPU's in a socket. So that's the CPU installed. You can see it there if I make it a bit lighter. So what I like to do is I like to put the back pins in first, rock it across so you can see that the pins line up in the socket properly. You must make sure that these turn pin ones are lined up correctly, because they will just snap off if you're not careful, and then just push down and they'll be snapping into place. So, question is, does that work? Does it work? Yes, it does. Woohoo! So what I'm going to do is, Phil sent me his SD to IEC. And it's got the user port on it. We were talking about that, and most of these come with the tape port, so he sent it for me just to make sure that everything was hunky-dory. So I'm going to plug that in now, and we'll test and see whether it works or not. So you can see we've got it plugged in now. Let's flick that switch. That started up, and we'll have to move that out of the way again in a minute. We're going to put this lid back over. So excuse me 1 second. Okay, so I've managed to load this up now. I was trying load SpeechMax star at first, and it was trying to load the Commodore 64 menu. So I had to do the $ and pull up the FB16, which I've gone into now. So if we go down to some of the games, if there's any games in here. Oh no, there isn't. Right, so let's fix that. So okay, I've fixed that. If you hear a lot of squeaking, that is my new kitten that keeps crying at me at the moment. I'll show you a picture of her if I can find one. Sid's new mate. But okay, so I've loaded the plus4 library onto the SD card for Phil, and if you go into there, we should have lots and lots and lots of stuff in here. You can't even read that, so you might have to rename these folders, Phil. Let's have a look in here. No, go back one. There should be D. Yeah. So let's have a game loaded up. Does Airwolf work? Airwolf 2. Let's have a look at Airwolf 2. And there you go. That's Airwolf that's loaded up. I don't know how to start it. I haven't got a clue. But there you go. Let's try another one. Let's knock that off. Put that back on. So this is how we're going to load it. Load. Shortcut. (8). So that should give us a listing. So we should be at a list. And then we can go up to the file browser 16. Load. Across to the end. Might be a shortcut to do this, but I don't know it. Right, comma 1. Block off. And then it's loading. Let's go down to the bottom. Run. Right back down to the bottom again. In you go. Tapes. In you go. What have we got? Have we got Have we got a Manic Miner? We'll see what Manic is. Manic. That one. Loading. So this might take a little while, but I sat here and just watched it for a minute. And eventually there we go. Press fire to start. So there you go. It's up and running. Let's do a reset. And we're back to normal. So one thing I did want to check is that the auto stop feature works. So yeah, when we get to about 10, 11, maybe 12ish, it should find it and the tape should automatically stop. As I've said in the previous videos, the 6510 adapter board doesn't. So I'm just hoping that this does. And yep, sure enough it's stopped. If we wait long enough it should auto start again. There we go, look, we're away. Awesome. So yeah Phil, it's up and running. Is that for you, buddy? I've preloaded your SD card as well with a load of software for you. If you've enjoyed this content, guys, please hit the subscribe, because there's a lot of you that don't subscribe, and it does help the channel a hell of a lot. So check out in the description for my other buddies, the Captain Commodore and Retro4U. They do some great stuff as well. So we'll see you on the next one. I'll try not to leave it as long next time. We have got a 48K Spectrum and an Opus Discovery 1 to take a look at next. So stay tuned, guys. So that's it for now. Bye!